welcome back to my channel. This is Kaylin, Full Purpose and Heart, and if this is your first video with me, this is my monthly update video, I guess you could say. What's going on in our homeschool? It's as if you've come to my house and sat here in my messy schoolroom and said, Kaylin, what's going on? So we're just gonna chat about what's going on and the curriculum I'm using and what I'm loving and what's working, and so let's have a chat. I am so glad you're here. These are my favorite videos to film because I get to just kind of talk out loud about things that we have done and are doing, and I kind of get excited about good things and all that kind of fun stuff. So, and it's a relatively sunny day today here at the end of February, so it's been a rough February. It's been a rough February because the weather is always terrible, and it just seems, although it's a short month, it's not as long as January. January felt horribly long. So, all right, first up, can we talk about the planner really quick? If you're new, I make my own planners. I've been making them for years, and they're available on Teachers Pay Teachers. It's just a standard, can I find a blank page? Probably not. It's just a standard planner with boxes in it. I have added my personalized text, but it's just your standard boxed planner. And then every year I am physically, personally using this. So if there's something that I feel like I want to add, I create it, I add it to the download, and then I throw it up on Teachers Pay Teachers as an updated file so that you can have access to it too. If you've never purchased it before, this is the thing that I love about it, is that I love color and I love a good planner. I loved this planner when I printed it out and I made it at the beginning of the year. But you use it all year long that you're kind of like, I mean, I still like it, but there comes a place where you're like, I don't know, I'm kind of over it now. I want something new and something different. Instead of having to go buy another $15, $12, $10 on another planner, I just add different stuff to it, or I make different color schemes. So I've been spending the past couple of days, because I'm kind of getting bored with what I'm having, and it's March, so I'm like, let's start planning next year instead of finishing this year, the life of a homeschooler. And I made 50. I probably could have made 100, but honestly, too many choices, it becomes overwhelming, and then nobody wants to buy it because you're like, I can't choose between 100. 50 is probably still too many, but I went through and made 50 new covers. All different themes. I went animals, and I did space, and I did oceans, and I did pineapples, and I did avocados, and I did cactus, and I did color schemes, and I did animal prints, and I did vacations and beaches and mountains and sunsets and watercolors, and I just kept going on and on and on, and it was so amazing. Florals, there's a bunch of floral options. Anyway, I did that because I feel like sometimes you just need something fresh. You just need something new. And if that means printing off a new cover to your planner and then throwing the binding back on it, sometimes that's all it takes. Number two update that I did is that I added this. I'm going to have to make a whole new video, but I'm so excited. I added some new layouts for this. Currently, if you get the download right now, the current setup is that all of the days are along the line here, and then your subjects go across the top. But hold on, I know, I'm amazing. I switched a few of the layouts so that you can have days across the top with subjects along the side here. I know, crazy. I don't know if my brain would ever be able to handle that. And I also made kind of more geared towards Charlotte Mason type planning, where you have family, school, subjects, looping, and then along the side here, instead of having this stuff, I put like a little notes sections. So you can have like your weekly hymn that you're gonna do, and the art that you're working on, and your mastery verse, and your morning basket resources. And can you just not even? Wait, there's more. I even made pages for like general planning, unit study planning. Like, one of the pages I need so bad is my kids' logins. Like, we have a few stuff that we do that they have to log in, and then the computer forgets it. And I always have to go back to where these logins are stored and like get it off of my personal computer anyway. So I'm like, can I just write them down and have them here so that I can just be like, oh, here's your password. Anyway, because we get these logins from the like school place that gives us money. So anyway, all that to say, I added all of this cool stuff. I added, what else did I add? Oh, monthly planners, curriculum maps. It is going to be the best planner that I've made yet. So go buy it now, today in February 2024, so that when I update it in April, every time I update it, I raise the price a little bit because it always has more stuff in it. So buy it now so that you get it for the cheaper price. And then if you get it in April, then it's fine too. Because honestly, it's the cheapest thing on Teachers Pay Teachers, planner wise. So there's that. Okay, now that we've spent 5 minutes talking about planning, I'm so excited about it. I almost want to like print off my new planner now. Okay, let me turn to my planner so I can talk to you about what we've done. I've got a little stack here so I can show you what resources we're using and how it's working. But let's start with Mail Monday. Okay, I love Mail Monday. I even went to Co-op on Tuesday and I was like, ladies, buy this immediately. It is the best. Now, this is the one that I showed you previously in my last video, but this is the polar bear one. It's all handmade, like none of it's printed. It's the most incredible resource. It's so cute. My kids love it. I had been kind of like stockpiling them a little bit from when I purchased it to when we actually started using it. So I think I had like 3 of them kind of stored up. So my kids got super spoiled because my intention was to open an animal one week, and then a national parks one week, and then write out one week. Oh my gosh. And yes. Okay. I was listening to, or I read one of the comments and they were like, you should write your kids letters for Mail Monday one day. Changed my life. So I did that too. I actually wrote my kids a letter for a Mail Monday one day. But anyway, all that to say, the animal ones are the favorite. And if I turn my camera here, hold on, because you might get dizzy. You can see them. We are putting them up here. So you can see we have 3 animals here. And then down here, you can see we're putting the like little stickers on my morning cart so that we have those. It is by far the best investment. Don't walk. Run over to their website and purchase these Writings from the Wild. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. I just love them. Okay, number 2, I love this next company. What are they called? American Heritage Adventure. I am a road trip fanatic. I love traveling the United States. I love seeing everything that this country has to offer. And this particular one is just that. So they highlight a different place, a national park, a state park, a place every month. So this particular one is White Sands. I think I have, oh, you can't see them because it's behind all of our poetry, but I have the other postcards up on our board here because you get a little postcard. And it talks about from the place of somebody who was on the adventure, a girl named Lizzie Jane, and she just tells you what she did at the White Sands. And so she's like, let me tell you about my adventures here. And I read the story to my kids, and then I'm like, what part of her day would you want to do? And I am not kidding you. I want to so bad just take my kids out on an adventure, put them in the car and be like, we're driving to New Mexico. We're doing it. We're having this day, this weekend that Lizzie had, we're going to do it. It is so great. Then you can get on YouTube and you can look up videos for White Sands, and you can have this whole like geography moment that came in your mailbox every month. I love it so much. I highly, highly recommend it. Mail Monday has been amazing. And yes, I did write my kids some letters. So that was amazing. They read those on one of our Mail Mondays. And then they were like, can we please open? And I'm like, well, guess what? Now I'm out. So thanks a lot. Anyway, highly recommend it. It has been such a fun addition to our school. Just starting in January, we just started it. Okay, what else had we started? So I just barely posted this video on Monday, talked at length about our book study. I am going to be finishing my 3rd graders book study this coming month in March. We're going to finish it up. Not that we're going to run out of books or ideas or fun, but I'm going to move her into the nonfiction book study, and I want to do that before the school year comes to an end. And we all know that by the time May hits, like April's rough, May is worse. So I'm going to try to do nonfiction book studies for a couple weeks in March, and then I'm going to hit it right after spring break when we have a few good weeks before we're all ready for summer break. So anyway, that's what we're doing with that. It has been so good. And I mentioned this all in the video on Monday that I posted about the book studies. But I want to try to create it for my 6th grader, my 11 turning 12-year-old. And it's a bit more of a challenge, but I'm gonna do it and we're gonna figure it out. But he's just not as like excited about these like cutesy cutes doors and pockets and character studies and what have you. And his book interests are different. So I don't know how that's gonna go. Stay tuned. But I will also tell you about the nonfiction book studies when we start doing that, because I'm excited. I'm excited. It's been so great. What I have done for my 6th grader, as well as included my 3rd grader, is our poetry study. I talked about this in January when I was like, I'm going to do poetry. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Guess what? I figured it out, and it's been so fun because the kids surprisingly love it more than I thought that they would. They like beg me like, okay, are we going to do poetry today? Are we going to do poetry? So it has been so fun. So this is how I built this poetry study. And if you want a more in-depth video, I will do that a little bit later so that this video doesn't get too long. But essentially, I created this similar to my book study book that we had. And then I just printed off all my pages and stuck it behind it so that it's kind of like a binder, but I bound it myself, okay? So we have types of poetry that we're studying. And I'll just show you really quick. Like, I had no idea how to do a poetry unit, and now I'm loving it so much. I'm like, why did I not do this sooner? Okay, so I just made a list. Like, these are all different types of poetry that we're gonna do. Then I went on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I found a resource that had all of these pages in it. Like, what is a haiku? So we actually talk about that. And then this same resource, I'll put it in the description box below for you if you want to check it out. But she has, as a part of it, it's like a bundle. So I had to like create this myself by printing from this file a little bit and then from that file a little bit, and I like built this myself. But anyway, so she has a pre-writing, like how do you do it pre-writing. Then she has, this is the rough draft, and then these green ones right here are our haiku poems. Anyway, so then she has this like presentation type one that you can make it and do like this final copy. And anyway, so we have our haikus, we have our sonnets, and then we started acrostic poems like in January when we were doing one for the month. That's what actually launched this whole poetry thing, was that. So anyway, really quick, we are going to talk about poetic devices, aka figurative language. So we're going to talk more about similes, metaphors, hyperboles, personification, rhyme and rhythm. So I'll kind of teach them about the beat and rhyming, theme and tone. And then for famous poets, we're going to actually just choose some poetry from famous poets, and we'll do these kind of like whatever breakdown things. So we'll find the theme, sensory details, mood, figurative language, and point of view for, you know, Shakespeare or whoever we find. So anyway, poetry has been amazing. I've loved it. The kids have enjoyed it. It's been great. So that pretty much covers what we've done entirely for language arts. Is our Mail Mondays, which isn't exactly language arts, but it's reading, so I count it, poetry, and then the fiction book study that my daughter's been doing, it has been her reading comprehension. My 6th grader just reads, like he kind of like bounces all over the place. Sometimes he'll read Harry Potter, sometimes he'll read like, you know, graphic novels, or he'll read whatever. Anyway, but we always have library books, so he just reads in general. I'm gonna see if we can like up the ante for that. Anyway, so that's been language arts. Let's talk about science. So we are doing space, and it's been slow. My son is super interested in it, but I haven't been giving it the time that I wanted to, mostly because I just really was interested in doing a really good job teaching science, instead of just like reading it out of this book and then being like, okay, now you've learned about, you know, constellations, let's move on to the next one. So it's been taking me some more time, but let me grab my, this is, we did constellations, was the last unit or the last like lesson that we did. So I read it out of this book. We watched a video about it, about constellations. We had studied stars previously. Anyway, so then I had the kids build a constellation. So this is Orion, and you can see this is Orion's belt up here, and then his head fell off, but this is, you know, his club, and here's his, what is it, the shield, I guess, and his feet. So anyway, all of the kids did this. This was even for my 1st grader. Everybody did this, and I am pasting these ones up by our solar system poster that's on the other side of my classroom here. So that, I mean, it was a success, but it's not like as great as I wanted it to be. And then the last one that we just did, which actually came out of nowhere, I was like, oh, it's like a spark of inspiration, but we did the sun right after we did constellations. Then we did the sun. We talked about the sun. We watched a video about the sun. We filled out the paper that I have in their like notebooks about the sun. And then we talked about the sun's energy, obviously was one of the big topics. So we put seeds in a little baggie and stuck one on the window, one in the shade, and one in the closet. So at the end of the week, we're going to go back and kind of look and see, okay, well, what power does the sun actually have in this little tiny experiment? So that just came to me out of nowhere. Instead of talking about the plant life cycle, we just had it relate to the sun. So anyway, science is going good. It's a lot slower than I anticipated it to be, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. It's February. Sometimes it's like it's a miracle that we're even in the classroom. Okay, so for the last one here that we have is, let's see, what did we do this month? Oh, I will talk really briefly about this for book recommendations. If you're doing a book study or you're looking for a book study, we read with my 3rd grade daughter, we read Heartwood Hotel this month, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. We started with the first one, True Home, and I believe that these are seasonal books. True Home is kind of the fall festival going into the winter festival, and then her next book, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like it happens in the winter time. So if you want to get ready for next year, this might be one of those seasonal books that you can read with your families, and it's great for all, boys and girls, of course, but I read it to my daughter and she loved it. And so anyway, that was one of the big ones we read. And then we also read some Valentine themed books for her. Brave Irene is another kind of like wintry type story because it takes place in a like wintry season. So if you have that, again, this just happened to be at my library. So we did this one and then we did the story elements. This was a really short one. I just barely talked about this on Monday's video. So it might be a repeat if you watched that one, but I just made these 2 little pocket things. One is story elements and the other one was figurative language and like nouns and common nouns and proper nouns and similes and personification. So the author does a really great job in Brave Irene. She does a great job with personifying the wind. So that was how we studied personification. And there's also some really fun similes. There was about 4 similes in that book. So I thought that was a win when you can find a book that actually uses figurative language. So, okay, so that was what I will say about that. Moving on to our last subject, we'll talk about the Civil War, and we are using the American Civil War History Pocket. This is an Evan Moore product. And if you have listened to any of my history videos in all of the years I've been on, then you know this is a great resource that I turn to time and time again when I'm teaching a unit study for history. So we're going through the Civil War and it is slower than molasses. We've come to a screeching halt. I feel like we came out of the gates really strong. We buzzed through the first 4 pockets, which was introduction, slavery, leaders of the war. Then we hit major battles and I don't know, the weather turned and everything turned cold. And so we kind of slowed way down. But we finally finished major battles. In this particular resource, they talk about 4 major battles, which I was grateful that as I could recall all of these battles from when I was taught it. Anyway, so we went over those 4 and then we watched the Gettysburg video online, and then we went to, those books that are like, who is Betsy Ross, who is George Washington? Anyway, that series, they have one that is what is Gettysburg. And so I read that book just as a read aloud to the kids on a school day when I was like, we're going to get lucky if anything gets done. Anyway, so that's how we finished up the major battles. We have 2 more pockets that I need to finish. Remember when I said at the beginning that my goal was to finish the Civil War in February and I didn't? Okay, so I have 2 more pockets. We're going to do A Soldier's Life and War Technology. So we are going to finish those in March. We're going to finish those in March. All right, that being said, I feel like that's a pretty good update for where we are in school. As far as goals, I think that goals are super important, and I haven't even sat down and written out what are my goals for March 2024. And that's what I'm going to sit down and do. And maybe I'll make a video for you later when I figure it out. But I think that setting goals is super important just so that you kind of know where you're going and what's the purpose and how much time does each thing take and all that kind of stuff. So we need to get a new character quality for March. We need to get a new feeling. We've been studying anxiety, but now we got to move on from that and do something different. Anyway, and we've been doing respect. It's been great, but let's just move on, do something different. So anyway, all that to say, March is right around the corner. So we're going to update the classroom and get the new months going, turn the calendar over and move along to March. So anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. In the next coming month, videos that you can expect, I didn't even bring my thing out, but I am going to give you a room tour for March. I am going to give you, Sophie Mouse. I'm going to talk about Sophie Mouse because we did that unit and purchased it and you need to know about it because your kids will love it too. And then we'll talk about, what else do I have planned? I feel like there's a bunch of curriculum that I have used or am using that I need to get up on a video here so that it has a place in my channel for everyone to refer to when they come to that chapter of life and they want to visit those curriculums. So anyway, all that kind of stuff we'll be covering, but as usual, I've now talked way too long, way longer than I probably should. So if you're still watching and you're still here, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know that you are still here. Subscribe to my channel. If you love this kind of content, you want to just listen to me as you're going for a walk or folding your laundry or cleaning or whatever it is you're doing, you want to listen to what we're doing on our side of the mountain because I know that's always encouraging and fun when I get to do it on others' channels. So anyway, thanks so much for watching and we'll catch you next month.